Welcome to another episode of Life Without Purse. Life Without Purse, so that's Życie Bez Gruchy in Polish. But today we're going to record in English because we have a special guest whose name is Sergio Chavez, and he's a real expert in digital advertising, namely Facebook, Google, and for several years he's been running his company, I Love Google Ads, which helps his clients achieve even better results and increase revenues. So Sergio was, as I said, already on our podcast, and he introduced his story. And you can definitely go there and check it out. It's in the car when he's driving. And so we're going to link that in the description. But today we're going to focus primarily on crypto and investing in crypto on different projects, but mainly on education in crypto and why it's important for all of you that are listening. And I met Sergio recently at the Celsius event here in Las Vegas, and we just decided, okay, we need to record another episode because that crypto stuff is becoming really huge and there's a lot of opportunities, and we're gonna also compare crypto to the traditional stock market investing, which Sergio has experience in. So he's a perfect guest. Sergio, thank you for your time. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Martin. How's it going over there?
It's going good, man. Lots of energy in Vegas. Where are you now?
I am in Las Vegas. At an undisclosed location. I'd rather not say, but I'm in Las Vegas.
Perfect.
In an office, in a really nice office.
Yeah, so basically today you guys are going to hear from Vegas. Sergio, without further ado, I'll let you talk about crypto. Why did you get into it? Why is it important? And a little bit of your transition from the stock market to crypto.
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me as a guest. I'm seeing in the back screen all the big people you've had, so I'm honored. I don't consider myself in that league. But I thank you for that. And the way that I started in crypto was back in, I think, 2015. I saw Bitcoin for the first time. My SEO mentor, my first SEO mentor, Michael X, who I think is doing big things in crypto now because he's disappeared off the face of the planet. Amazing guy. He put out back in the day, a Bitcoin bot to trade in 2015, and I was in his list. So I started looking at Bitcoin back then. I was not in a great financial position at the time, but I did start buying Bitcoins at $300, which I did not keep, to tell you the truth. But I did advise my girlfriend to buy Bitcoin at around $800, and she forgot about it. So when 2 or 3 years ago, a year or so ago, she started remembering, oh, I think I had that Bitcoin thing. Or we would see the prices go up to 20,000 and then it went down to 4,000. She's like, I'm holding forever. I don't care. So then when it was like $50,000, she started caring a little bit more. It's been a lot of fun. I started getting back in the market with deep research this summer, and I hold it as my favorite investment vehicle, right? So I was looking for something to invest. Real estate didn't float my boat, or any other the stock market. So I just I went all in on crypto, and I love it as an investment vehicle. I love it as a learning vehicle. I've learned so much about money through crypto. I've learned so much about human nature. I've learned so much about the value of exchange and the ease which you can do exchange, right? Once you do your first transaction over a MetaMask or over the internet, and you exchange something that has value, you can never go back.
Yeah, so probably most of the people that are listening, they don't even know what's a MetaMask. So we won't go to MetaMasks on this podcast, but if someone is interested, read about it, educate yourself, because those words, and those things, projects and everything. That's why we're doing this podcast, because we want to share what we've learned, and we've transacted, we've learned about money, learned about everything else that generations before us, they accumulated all that wealth, right? And then primarily they were investing in equities, real estate, and now crypto, boom, and it's been happening for, like you said, since 5 years. I got into it like in 2018, just speculation, just bought it, sold it, lost a bit of money, kept a bit of Ethereum as well, kept a bit of Bitcoin, but I forgot about it. And then like a year ago, I got into it again, and I really started heavily educating myself, because I just saw, I like the saying, follow the money. So I'm like, okay, there's gotta be something into it. But let's start with your transition from the traditional, stock market, just briefly, because a lot of people, previous generations, they have all that wealth accumulated, and there's a lot of wealth, in real estate, equities, derivatives, and crypto is still so tiny, and people may think, oh, it's a big thing, but it's nothing. It's just nothing burger. So talk about the transition to, from stock investing into crypto. What did you learn during that time? And why did you transition? Like, why are you not in stock? Like, why are you not learning about stock investing and everything? Why crypto? Like, what's the issue here?
I would say that different vehicles require different level of attention. My aha moment for cryptocurrencies is the fact that it's, in comparison to a real estate market or gold or stocks or currencies in itself, like you said, it's a very tiny thing, right? And when people start getting it, that tiny thing can become a huge thing. And I would say it in the realm of 1 to 100, right? So given like the trends that you see, the internet took a certain time to take off, right? And the trend of adoption was very exponential. Well, crypto is having that same trend of adoption, but I think a lot more, like double what the internet had at the beginning. And I wish I would have been there. I mean, I was in the .com boom, and it was insane. I saw AOL go up $100 a day, $100 a day, $200, $300, up to $1,000 a day, right? So I think this is going to be the same thing as the .com boom back in the 2000s, when things would go up exponentially crazy, because this serves a basic purpose. It's the rehypothecating of money. It's the use of money, right? Like your guest Mashinsky says, he's building money over IP or money over internet protocols. Yeah, and that's happening every single day. And the fact that it could be whatever. If you throw $1 in right now, you can speculate that it's going to be worth, and let's see, just the simplest asset, Bitcoin or Ethereum, it's going to be worth 100 times more. Any dollar that you put in there, right?
On what sort of time frame? Like, what do you predict?
On a 10-year time frame.
100x.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean 150 to 100x. So I mean, wouldn't you like to put in at least, even if 5% of your portfolio, even if 5% of whatever your investment is, it's going to outperform anything else.
So it's like with Google or Amazon, early days.
Correct. It's getting in there.
So we're at the beginning, and it's definitely not a Ponzi scheme. It's definitely not at this point people, I mean, aside from some people that are, like so into gold and like very safe assets, but Bitcoin is becoming a kind of safe, haven for people to fly when there's, fear on them, like, macro and, global market. And I would like to now talk about what is money. Like, I want to understand, because I think that's the underlying thing where it hooked me really into like crypto, because I started learning about like inflation, deflation, what is money, like, what is fiat money? Like before, maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, people didn't even realize what's the fiat money. Now that like everybody's starting to learn, What is the difference between, like the dollars, pounds, British pounds, or like, Swiss francs or whatever, and crypto, right? So the question is, why Bitcoin and what is money? I know those are very huge questions, but maybe you can try to tackle them.
Those are huge questions, but it's very simple. Money is a unit of exchange, right? It's what we humans or as a group agree upon has value and will exchange things through. Would you like me to explain that a little further?
Maybe you can say, the difference between the dollar and let's say and the crypto, because now you can have a dollar in the crypto, so USDC. So a dollar denominated like a fiat can be in like an equivalent in the crypto world, right? And so basically it's an encrypted money.
So let's go back to the beginning. So let's say you and I, Marcin, go and agree that this paper is worth 100 units, and then you say, I'm going to give you a website and the website costs 50 units. And I agree to give you half this paper, right? And I sell you a piece of furniture and it's worth 20 of these units, right? So money is just a mass agreement. The thing about it is that there has to be one single unit. There's got to be a unit that holds that value, right? And it's just agreement. It's just human agreement. There's no other way to say it. The thing about computers is that the agreement is distributed across millions, or probably in the future billions of computers, right? So those agreements as to what something is worth is extended in many computers. So nobody can cheat that agreement. So if I sent you one unit of that agreement, it's recorded in millions of computers at the same time, right? So the only thing that can break that agreement is if the internet breaks down. Then if the internet breaks down, bye-bye humanity, right? So
you said that nobody can kind of cheat that agreement. So does it imply that the fiat money, like the US dollar, pound, or other currencies, are being cheated? And how are they being sort of manipulated, cheated?
Well, I mean, they're being manipulated and cheated in the sense that they're just printing out more, right? The more you print, the less valuable it is. But I know that everybody these days is like going in inflation, blah, blah, blah. But I have seen scenario in Mexico one day, the coin, I haven't seen, it was genius, right? What the inflation was so high that, a coin, they took 3 zeros out of the coin. So magically inflation disappeared, right? Because
how did they create deflation?
They didn't create deflation. They just took out 3 zeros of the coin. So if it was magical. So if it was 1,000,000 pesos, it's now 1,000 pesos.
And what did it create? Like what was the effect on the economy and the world?
The economy started coming back up again, right? So I mean, Mexico is a very corrupt country, but eventually, if that happens, that is a scenario that I think any other country would try to do. Especially a powerful country, right? That has a big economy. Smaller countries maybe won't be able to, but countries like the US, I think that could be a scenario nobody has thought of. Now, I don't see mass talk about it, but I think it's just the agreement of whoever has the power. So a currency is more backed by power and agreement than it is by value, and that's gonna keep being the case.
So currency it's like a paper, right? Like you said, It's just what do we agree and what do we agree on. Before, like I think 50 years ago or 70 years ago, we went off the gold standard. So gold before was the unit that was underlying the actual money, like the paper. So the dollar. So for every dollar, you could exchange it for a piece of gold. And now you cannot go and just exchange the dollar like for the gold. Like you can go and buy the gold, right, for the value equivalent, but you cannot go to the bank and exchange your dollar for the gold. I mean, let's think about it. So you can go and buy with your dollars, with your paper, you can go and buy the gold, but you cannot exchange. So because they stopped supporting, sort of the government stopped supporting, gold, because they started expanding the money supply, as you said, right? They started printing. And now something just that I don't understand is now I can go and buy that gold, right, with my dollar. So what's the, like, you know, and because there's a lot of people like influencer on YouTube that are saying, no, like we lost the link between the dollar and the gold, but you can still go and buy the gold. So what's the point here?
What's the point?
I don't understand.
There's no point. It's just massive agreement, right? It's just massive agreement and the power of a country to say, yeah, this is worth so much. And it's backed up either by our industry, or it's backed up by our military, or it's backed up by something. But at the end, it's mass agreement, right? So
I like that. And that's the lesson for everyone here. That's
at the end, it's all mass agreement. Like if everybody at the same time started agreeing that the dollar is worthless, it'd be worthless. But that's not going to happen, right? There's so much attachment.
So why Bitcoin now?
So why Bitcoin now? Like, you know, it's just another mass agreement, right? That's becoming a norm. The thing is that it's completely decentralized, right? It's a mass agreement that a person in Africa or a person in Russia can take on and exchange in the same value, right? So that changes the game, because different borders have different coins, but now that it's just one coin, it gets a lot more interesting, because you can have the same value exchange across countries, which is right now what stops things, right? The fact that your coin in Russia is worth different than it's worth in the US, or your coin in Mexico is worth different than it's worth in France, that creates barriers to entry, barriers to exchange. When you take that off, and there's mass agreement, and it can be done anywhere by having 12 words in your mind, you know, it changes the game completely, because now you can exchange in different ways and value can transact in different ways. Of course, that's the ideal, right? And that's why it was created at the beginning.
I like that. I never really thought about it this way. So you're saying that, let's say when we have a dollar, it's very centralized, and there's a group that can control it, and the dollar will then be denominated differently, let's say in Russia, in Mexico, Poland, UK, right? So there's a different exchange rate. But if you take Bitcoin, you can then transact everywhere in the world. It's decentralized because people can own it. It's you cannot expand the supply because it's mathematically, programmatically capped to 21 million. And there's no 21 million, by the way. I studied, and there's a lot of coins that were lost. Satoshi has around like over 1 million, I think, Bitcoin. So there's no really 21 million. There's like 14 million after you take all the lost coins and all the locked coins that haven't been moved. So there's like 14 million, available. So that's what I understand. And let's talk about Bitcoin being sort of an open network where let's say someone from Africa, Poland, they cannot plug into dollar and not manipulate, but change or maybe create sort of applications based on the dollar. But you can do it with the Bitcoin, right? Because it's you don't need to adhere to regulations. It's decentralized. It's like worldwide.
Correct. And the fact that humans in one place on the world can exchange with another human, it's better for humanity, right? Because you can value things as they are, or as people agree that they are, in a higher sense. So that's, in ideal, that's great. But of course, you're going in against a whole bunch of powers that be, and change takes time, right? Especially when you're changing a complete system. So that's why you see all the crazy fear, uncertainty, and doubt on the market and everything. But it's at the time it's unstoppable unless you stop the internet. And even if you stop the internet, it's been like a virus that's been spreading for a long time. And in the future, it might not be Bitcoin, but it is going to be some sort of cryptocurrency for sure. As long as we have internet, and as long as we have what we call the internet right now. So
you're saying the argument that someone says, when the internet collapses and they switch, they plug and they pull the plug, off, and there's no electricity, the world is gonna collapse because there's gonna be nothing. Like everybody, like all the ledgers, all the account balances, banks, everything is running on the internet now. Everything
Correct.
is online.
Correct.
Like banks are, even closing the branches. They don't keep any money. They don't hold any money. it's just numbers. So it's the same.
Correct.
Like there's no argument here, like that someone says that when you switch off the the internet or the electricity, it's the end of the Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about, you mentioned about different cryptocurrency, different crypto. And like when I looked at crypto, I was like, hold on. So you have Bitcoin, like, and then you have, 1,000, 10,000 of other cryptocurrencies or crypto. Like, I don't want to call them cryptocurrencies. I don't know. I just want to call them crypto because like some people say that it's actually not a cryptocurrency, it's a crypto asset. That's how it's been deemed by, let's say, Bitcoin. That's how it's deemed by, by the government, especially in the US. So let's talk about, let's say I want to invest in Bitcoin, but you said Bitcoin might not stay around. Like I want to buy some Bitcoin, right? But you said, oh, there's other crypto that can overtake, like for example, Ethereum. That's second when it comes to the market cap. And So what do you mean by saying that it could be another crypto?
Okay, so the thing about cryptocurrency is that Bitcoin came out with the original theory, right? And the original theory was to be able to have fungible money, decentralized money, but there was really no use case for it other than exchanging, right? There was this other guy that came up with an idea of making something very similar to Bitcoin, but with use cases where people can say, oh, I'm gonna put in a function that creates interest, or I'm gonna put in a function that puts value on a certain thing on that chain, such as like an NFT, right? So point being is that you can make, since it's programmable, now you can add functions on top of the money and do all sorts of creative things, and that's what Ethereum was, and that was the next revolution. And then Ethereum started getting too much adoption, and now they didn't think it would be so big. So then next part was they're coming up with better chains with other coins that have different functions, go faster, do better things, are more efficient. Just like anything on the internet, any technology, it just improves, right? So that would be the evolution of what it is. So if you would make an analogy, Bitcoin is gold, right? That would be the internet gold, and then Ethereum, it would be much more liquid money, but with a lot more different things that you can do with it.
Some people say that calling Bitcoin the sort of, a gold, it's a joke because gold has different properties. It's been tested, for thousands of years. But it's also, there's a lot of cons to gold. It's very difficult to transport, right? Like you cannot take, a lot of gold and go to different countries because they're gonna ask you where does it come from. You need to declare it and everything. With Bitcoin, it's like ubiquitous, and especially in the world where we can buy, very cheap tickets and we can travel. Obviously, now we have a very specific time, which is great because we can learn about crypto. We can educate ourselves about money because the one who controls the money, the government, they control everything. So that's something that I didn't understand. And that's why I'm grateful to crypto, just for the lesson and for the opportunity to learn about what is money and like learning about all of that. But you said about another layer on top of Bitcoin. And we have a lot of people, in the IT industry here, people that want to get into Bitcoin, get into crypto, Ethereum, etc. And I know you're programming, and I know you're learning, like actually, coding. And that's something that I want to talk to you before we jump into your portfolio. So let's talk about programming and where do, like, if you're a beginner programmer, or like maybe you do some backend or front end, where can you start, and what sort of programming languages? Maybe you can elaborate on projects and programming languages that are there that we as programmers, we should start learning.
Very good. So yeah, there's three. What I would recommend, the top three. Let's start with a language called Solidity. So that's the base language, the base layer for Ethereum, Solidity. I think that should be a basic for any coder that wants to get into this. From what I've like, and I'm just telling you from people that are great coders and that I'm like interviewing and asking questions from. So the first thing is Solidity. So you should also learn a little bit of Python and JavaScript because they go together. But Solidity is the language that interacts with the Ethereum blockchain. Next one on the list, I would say, would be Arbitrum. Like if you want to be like a top-notch developer, I'd say Arbitrum, which is for the Polkadot network, which is an upcoming network that it's just like Ethereum, but it's competition. It would be like, let's say, Apple and Microsoft, right? So Ethereum would be Microsoft, Polkadot will be Apple. And the other one is Rust for Solana, which is another big chain. So I think a person that has those three skills, oh my God, they're gonna be the next millionaires in coding for sure. So it would be Solidity, Arbitrum, and Solana,
And how do you
and Rust.
and how would you start? What sort of side project would you give to our like developers and programmers who just wanna sort of get their hands dirty?
Build a coin on Solidity. You can go onto YouTube and just YouTube and put in build a coin on Solidity, or mint an NFT on Solidity. There's tons already in YouTube. There's a lot of material that you can go there.
You mentioned about NFTs, so I need to ask you a question. Do you own any NFTs?
I do.
And what do you make of it? Like, is it a scam? Like people are making JPEGs and and scamming each other, with the sort of pumping the price to like $1 million, $500,000 for the JPEG.
NFTs will have a use case, definitely. The thing is that as humans, it's not hard to see if you're into human biases. Basic human biases are to have status, right? So status is based on value. So then people just found something that can be a symbol of status and popped up the value. And they're just JPEGs for the time being. I agree. But they will have other use cases. Like, for example, I just bought domains that are NFTs, right? So my domain, sergiochavez.crypto, is actually registered as an NFT. So then there's certain value to that NFT, or there's certain thing connected. It doesn't only have to be a picture, right? For the time being, it's pictures. And since it's such an easy use case, that's why you see mass adoption. I still remember I had this Vegas adventure about probably a year ago now. And we were looking at, I was looking at the CryptoPunks, right? These NFTs that are super famous right now. And they were just starting to tick off, and the cheapest one was $34,000. And that day, it was crazy. Like, our friends made like hundreds of thousands playing Baccarat. And I'm like, just dump $30,000 into this. Well, now the cheapest CryptoPunk, I think, is worth 1 million. So that would have been like 30 times the investment. But that, I mean, that's, the CryptoPunks are just little images, right? That are like, they're like 8-bit images, and they are.
So if you can define also for people who don't even know what's NFT, so what's the difference between Bitcoin and NFTs? So quickly, explain that.
Cool. Yeah, I'll explain that real easy. So an NFT is a number in a blockchain, and that number assigns you to unique ownership. So let's say it's number 0001 on Ethereum, and I attach a picture to it, right? So that number says that I am the only owner of that, right? And that's by agreement too. That's by human agreement. So then that number, if it has a certain value, it gives me certain status. And if it has certain status, then I'm a better person, or I'm worth something else. That's why artists, you see them putting up little stupid pictures of NFTs in their profiles, because that number makes it unique and gives you status. So you put a picture on top of that number, and that's what an NFT is right now, right? It can be anything else. like I was saying earlier, it can be a domain.
And you
That's a
cannot
unique
split
number.
it. And you cannot
You cannot
split
split
it.
it. You cannot nothing. Yeah.
So you can
It's
split
absolute.
Bitcoin. So you can, if you have, let's say, one Bitcoin, you can split it into like, half Bitcoin and another half Bitcoin, or you can split it into like Satoshis, which are the smaller units of
Yes.
Bitcoin. And you can split it like very granularly, but you cannot split a non-fungible token, which is like, it could be a house. Like you cannot split a house. I mean, technically you can split a house, right? But it will be like one property. If you own a property, let's say you own the building where you are, it's some sort of unique piece of land, right?
Correct.
Or and that's yours, and you own
Correct.
it. So that the same with art, I would say that's another use case.
Yeah, art or JPEGs, like you said, it doesn't matter how complex or how animated it is. It's either use case, right? So now I've been to NFT meetups and everybody comes up on their phone and this is my project and this is my project. Eventually, it's just gonna it's getting commoditized in my humble opinion. It's like it was such a easy use case and everybody could do it that it's just like now everybody and their mother wants to do it, so it's less valuable. And that's the case for NFTs right now. But it'll be something that revolutionizes things for sure. Like the second use case that I've seen that's really good is domains. So yeah, I do have domains that are in the blockchain instead of being in GoDaddy.
What sort of domains should we buy?
The domains that they're .crypto. So I have Sergio Chavez.crypto, Sergio Chavez.wallet, those type of domains, because you can link them. They're made such as you can link them to your addresses, and then people can just send money over it, Bitcoins or Ethereums or other different chains through that.
Only those domains, only the crypto domains, not any other domain, or can be any domain.
I think it's ETH, ETH, and then .crypto. Where I bought it was in Unstoppable Domains, because there was another one called ETH, and I think they've minted a bunch of them. I don't know how it worked, but you can also get free cryptocurrency sometimes when you mint domains. So that could be something. Unstoppabledomains.com. That's where I got mine.
Perfect. So that's definitely something of value for the listeners. Let's go to the next thing that I have on the list, which is your portfolio and the price action, because that's where that's where all the emotion, and then the interest actually gets all the people into the vortex. So it's so funny that it's not technology for most of the people, but it's the price action. And it was for me as a person that's in technology. It's the price action that gets attention. Like, hey, get into crypto. And it's the price action and then, and the possibility of, making a good investment. So let's talk about the price and technology and your portfolio. Like you already said that you have some, Bitcoin, Ethereum, but what else is there? So, the floor belongs to you now.
Okay, very well. So the portfolio that I hold, I'm not gonna say.
No, just saying like maybe
I'm just gonna say,
like what sort of coins you have.
I have a little bit of Bitcoin. Most of my holdings are Bitcoin and Ethereum. Next comes Solana, Polkadot, and Phantom. Those are all different competitors of Ethereum. I also hold a bit of Kusama, and one of the big ones that I hold for value is Hex, which is a very controversial project, but it has proven itself to be one of the better ones. And then a little bit like 5% allocations or less on different gaming projects like Star Atlas. And then what else do I have? Let's see. I own some coins that haven't gone out. These are called IDOs, or initial offerings. They're calling them something else. I think they were called ICOs in the past, initial coin offerings.
Now they call it in IEOs, initial exchange offering. Is that
IOs and different names. Some call it sacrifice because you go in and sacrifice without expecting getting any value, and you just get tokens, right? And then the tokens go up in price. So there's different ways. So I'm looking forward to a project, and if this could be the gold for a lot of people, called Pulse Chain, which is going to be an exact copy of Ethereum, but it's going to be a lot cheaper to transact in. So if you want to look into something, Pulse Chain, it doesn't exist yet as of December of 2021, but it will be in existence next year, anywhere from January to February. I also own a whole bunch of projects that are going to come out on Polkadot, Parallel Finance, BitCountry, Quartz, Subsocial, and Akala token. And those are just smaller bets, 1% of the portfolio, just because those are things that can grow exponentially, right? Those are where you make the gains. If you're seeing stuff being pumped up on YouTube, which was what we were talking about, be wary. I've learned enough in the market that, you something that's already being held like, oh, this is the greatest and best, it's generally already bought up to the top if you're talking about price action. So what I would recommend is to start studying, start small, get some Ethereum in there, learn the ropes, learn how to exchange Ethereum, learn how to save your Ethereum in a wallet, and then start making your research. And there's a lot of things to look at in crypto, but just look at if you're in the top 50 projects, you can't lose. I mean, it's not that you can't lose, but you're pretty safe, right? And I would allocate 75% of my portfolio if I were starting to Ethereum and Bitcoin, and then Ethereum Hex.
Would you rather when we focus on Ethereum and Bitcoin, would you rather bet on Bitcoin or Ethereum, or would you split it 50-50?
I like Ethereum right now because it's starting to get a lot of adoption in the sense of big institutions, because they can do a lot more in the sense of transactions and making interest and exchanging and creating. I mean, we would go into, that would be a whole nother podcast, which is DeFi, right? So decentralized finance, in which you can get an interest, in which you can loan money. So that's a big thing about Ethereum, and it gained so much. Last time I saw, there was over $100 billion in value of people doing finance transactions in Ethereum, and it's the biggest one. So I don't see anybody leaving. I don't see mass exodus out of that ecosystem because there's so much agreement as to the value of it, and there's so many hands putting in value into it that it makes it keep its value, even though it's not as great, or it's, by our internet standards, older technology.
I want to know, I'm going to go into next thing. We could go into DeFi, decentralized finance, and talk about it, but it's just so long. And then what we recommend from this podcast, it's all about getting people into education. By the way, thanks for sharing your portfolio and allocations. Let's discuss where we are in the market cycle right now. So what's your take on where we are with Bitcoin, because it's the index, like it's the biggest crypto, the biggest market cap. Do you think 2022 we're going higher? And if so, what sort of time frame? Or do you think we're going to go sideways now, or you're kind of bearish, so we're going to go down?
I think January is going to be a huge month because there's going to be a lot of money coming into the space. There's a lot of institutions wanting to put money in the space, and I would not care if you're going to do this. If you're going to go into this market, just look at it in a 10-year horizon, right? I'm not selling anything. I'm just buying for the next 2 to 3 years, regardless of where it is. So I don't care. I don't care because I know that
would you say I'm irresponsible because I went 100% on crypto? Because some people say, oh, it's irresponsible. I'm like, I can see that, like there's so much energy. Like when I look at Twitter, at the amount of people that are so smart transitioning and the amount of founding VCs about that technology, how this can transform the world where we are now. Metaverse is coming, from Facebook and because of C19 and everything that happened, all the events, that just, I think, sort of accelerated everything by 10 years. So we're like 5 to 10 years probably ahead. And it's going to just accelerate more 2022. What's your outlook on the macro 2022? Because with all the lockdowns right now, I was talking to a friend in Spain yesterday. Believe or not, they introduced curfew. So 1 o'clock at night, you cannot, it's in Catalonia. 1 o'clock at night, you cannot leave your house.
Dude, it's unprecedented times, Marcin. I don't think this market is going anywhere. 2022 will bring in more adoption. I'm really looking forward to it. Personally, like I said, I expect any dollar that you put in today on an average, right? Because the price is so volatile that maybe today is 50 and then tomorrow's 40. But then if you're going on an average, you probably buy at 45, right? During this time or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be any well-placed money in the market will be worth 10 to 20 times in the next 10 years. So every $100 bill, just look at it as a $1,000 bill.
What's your percentage allocation on the crypto?
My percentage?
Like overall,
for my investment?
How much?
98% of my 98% of my investments are in cryptocurrency. Because I believe in it so much. You're not irresponsible, man. Take responsibility, right? If I've seen this thing go from 20,000 to 4,000 and then go roaring back. So I would not worry. I would not worry at all. It's not irresponsible. You're young enough, you'll make money back. That's
why I'm taking this risk, because there's nothing else. Like if I look on Wall Street, the stock market, and I tried options and I lost money, but I've learned. But to me, I just feel, I don't know, there's some sort of, rebel in me that I just don't like the stock market. I don't like the traditional market because it's connected to the legacy money. And I know that something is going on there, that someone on Wall Street, insider, there are insiders as well in crypto, but I feel that I'm fresh. I'm kind of young in crypto, there is this potential that you can, and it's also, I see the energy of the people and the technology that is actually has the potential to diversify and distribute wealth to the younger generations, because I think that's very, very important to get the wealth from the older generation to the younger generation. There has been no vehicle so far that's been as good as crypto, I think.
You're absolutely right. It's a better bet than anything else, in my humble opinion. Any market, it's when you said the keyword was wealth, so you got to see it as wealth. So like a piece of real estate, you're not buying and selling it every other month, right? So you're seeing it as wealth. You're going to be in it for 5 years. That's a wealth perspective. But if you want to be, markets are designed to be, in my opinion, also, they're designed to be big casinos. If you look at statistics, like crypto exchanges, they disclose that 65% of the people, that's eToro, I think, it's on their website, they disclose that 65% of the people lose money. So I think that's
even more, I think 70 something.
Lot, yeah. So, yeah, and option traders, only 5% make money. So just by simple math and common sense, it's a game that's rigged against you. So why? I don't consider myself exceptional human. I don't know. No, it's I haven't met I've met a couple of good traders, but that's their life. That's their life. And if it's a game that's rigged against you 95 to 5%, and the part you have commissions and buy and sell spreads, which eat at you. It's just that I have my respects for good traders, but I would not take on that game anymore myself because it's completely rigged against you. And I've had enough experience. I'm 44 at the time, and I've been on all sorts of games and all sorts of things. And, you get a little cynical by that time to know that, why go and play a rigged game? It's just another waste of 5-10 years that you don't have to. So you just buy and hold and buy some more. Just the plan with crypto is, I tell people, like, I just got asked for some advice, and I said 75% of your portfolio, do this: 25% Ethereum, 25% Hex, 25% Solana or Polkadot, and then 25% go and play and do whatever you want. You might hit 100x. That's super possible. There's a lot of projects in which you can do that, but out of every dollar, take 75 cents and do that, and just put in the strong candidates and the strong horses. Play with 25% if that's what you want to do. If not, just 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and put it. Yeah, and the cool thing about crypto is that now it makes interest. That wasn't here last year. Like that's a whole new thing. No, I think that started in 2020. So you can put in your Ethereum or your Bitcoin in certain banks, like you said, Celsius or other institutions, and they'll give you 5%, 8%, 10%, depending on the asset. My bank gives me 0.01%. Like nothing. So then you can just, like, if you even see it like that, like having an asset that gives you 5% and can appreciate, geez, man, just be steady. Put in $1,000, $1,000 a month. You'll be very happy if you do that. 1,000, 2,000. Don't try to be the next crypto genius. Nobody has a crystal ball.
Thank you for sharing all your experience. We went very high level, but again, we would need to talk for like hours because this space is changing so quickly, so rapidly. But you also mentioned about something very important: financial intelligence. People think that they can only put their money into the banks, and the banks right now, that game, like once I started like decoding and understood like that the value of my money, the purchasing power is going down, and I store my like money there in the bank, but I'm not allocating that money, and my company is cash flowing positively. So there's positive money coming in, then something is wrong. Like, I need to learn something here. There's like financial intelligence. And then I'm like, I looked at most of the people, and they work for money. They think they work for money. They work for currency, but they're not working for the money that has the value, to multiply. So that they need to learn that multiplier, and then again, follow the money, as we said at the beginning. Follow where's the money going, and educate yourself. This is not about financial advice; it's about education. Like, if you can take one thing from this podcast, just think about education. Sergio, thank you for your time. One more question before you go: what does your day look like right now? Once you've gone down the rabbit hole for crypto.
In crypto or in work?
Like overall, like what does your day look like? Maybe a week? How much time you spend for crypto? How much time you spend on your business right now?
Okay, cool. So I'm like, okay, for crypto, I'm always listening to education on YouTube. My favorite channel is Cultivate Crypto. They're fantastic. I love those guys. They give me the basic framework, and everything that I've told you comes from that basic framework. These guys have been experienced in the market for 3 years. So whenever I'm in the car, whenever I'm in idle time, I'm listening to YouTube videos on crypto. That's right now my main thing. So let's say 2-3 hours a day of idle time that I spend on crypto. I check my portfolio like every 12 hours, and that's kind of the time. And then the rest of the time I'm building. Like right now, I'm going to build about 200 different ads for 5 or 6 different ad campaigns. And I'm going to get in on meetings with clients. It's pretty quiet right now. Usually it's a lot more, but that's my day. I'll go to probably 9 p.m. We have a very busy company. We handle over 30 different companies for their marketing in different capacities. So I'm pretty busy all day, 6 people working for me, but what I do requires a lot of constant attention. Ads can change on a dime. Ads can get very expensive, so then you have to stop it. And ads don't care if it's the middle of the night. It can be so it doesn't matter. So I'm 24/7 basically on my company, and then I work in a computer, so looking at crypto is pretty simple. It's just another monitor.
And you love what you do. You're a man of passion. You understand psychology as well, because you mentioned about that in a few sort of segments of the podcast. And those are all the indicators for people what to learn, what to look for. And Sergio, we'll definitely have you again, especially on the crypto stuff. Maybe we'll talk about DeFi more or about something else. And if you guys want to have Sergio again to talk about something specific, just leave the comment. If you like the video, thumbs up. Right? You can if you don't like my accent, the Polak, crazy Polak accent, just put the thumbs down, and I'm not gonna even see that, because YouTube is so gracious, we're so sensible right now that we don't see the dislikes, we only see the likes. So Sergio, again, thank you for your time, appreciate you, and till the next time.
Thank
Happy
you,
New
Marcin.
Year. Take care.
Życie bez gruchy. Jedyny życiowy podcast w Polsce stworzony dla geeków.